You probably know by now that Tyreek Hill was pulled over last Sunday and brutalized by Miami cops shortly before he was scheduled to play a bruising football game. He'll be crying soon that the cop was not gentle with him and could have hurt him. I'm not joking. So Tyreek Hill has found himself in trouble with the law yet again. This time over his inability to comprehend police orders, or simply his unwillingness to follow them. And he'll pretty much lie about everything that happened. But let's get it on. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With cold, blunt analysis cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Now, some have said that the cop should have known that the driver was Hill, and therefore there was no need to be on the alert. If anything, Hill's background would not have settled the cop's nerves one lick. We'll talk about that in another video.
Good morning. Developing story out of Miami. Prior to Sunday's win against the Jaguars, Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill was detained by police Sunday outside of Hard Rock Stadium for a driving violation, but was released from custody before the game yesterday.
First of all, you should have the window down before the cop gets there. It's how we make things go smoothly. But you didn't. Okay, the cop is going to tap on the window. What are you expecting the cop to do? Just stand there until you feel like rolling the window down? Of course he's going to tap on it, dummy. And shooting your mouth off to tell the cop that you don't like him tapping on your window, even though you gave him no other choice, is called escalation. How Hill responded to the officer tapping on his window is what sets this whole thing off. By the way, with windows that dark, you don't know what you're going to be staring at when he rolls the window down. I'm having my hand on my gun if I'm the cop.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Don't knock on my window. Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Hill may have taken the seatbelt off to go fishing for his information. The cop is just seeing if Hill will admit to not having it on. This exchange is inconsequential, but many are assuming that the cop pulled him over for a seatbelt violation on account of it. No, he was pulled over for speeding. How fast was he going? Some have said over 100, but I tend to believe like 60 miles per hour is more likely. Now notice that Tyreek refuses to answer the cop when the cop asks him why he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. A few things about that. For one, it's okay for Tyreek to refuse to answer the question. In fact, a lawyer would probably advise him not to. But talking over the cop while being questioned is not okay. It's a passive-aggressive technique for being a real jerk. I would have been more supportive of Tyreek's behavior if he had just said, "I prefer not to answer any questions." But to cry, "I don't like my window being tapped like that," while the cop is asking you a question is rude and demonstrates his total contempt for the cop.
Knock on my window like that, no. Like what? Don't knock on my window like that. Why you have it up? Don't knock on my window like that. Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here. That way you can lower it and talk to you. Just get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm finna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do.
Okay, demanding that the cop just go back and write a ticket is also a no-no. I mean, it's not illegal, but this is not civil discourse. Notice that the cop politely explained why he had to tap on the window, but Tyreek isn't listening. You see, Hill really didn't have any complaint about the cop knocking on his window. What else can the cop do? It was just an excuse to pick a fight. But what Tyreek does next really shows what this is all about. He's going to roll his window back up. Take notice of how long it takes for him to roll it back down.
Keep it down. Hey! Keep your window down. Hey! Keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
So Hill is really perturbed over having the cop knock on his window. So what does he do? He rolls it back up, knowing full well that the cop will have to tap on his window once again. This just shows you how disingenuous Hill is throughout this entire exchange. There is a misconception out there that once Tyreek Hill hands the cop his info, that he can simply roll his windows back up again. No. This is a police investigation. Handing over your driver's license doesn't mean that protocols for officer safety no longer apply. You don't have to talk to the police, but that doesn't mean you can disobey a lawful order. If the cop orders you to roll your window down, keep it down unless you want to end up like Tyreek here. Note that at one point Tyreek says, "Don't tell me what to do." Cops can tell you what to do, Tyreek. When you roll the window up on a cop, it's not going to go well. You might as well just flip him off. And while you can legally flip him off, the cop, being human, isn't going to show a lot of patience with you. You drew a line in the sand. Don't get mad if the cop steps over it. One more thing. Rolling the window up on the cop is an extraordinarily rude thing to do. It's like slamming the door in a person's face. If you're looking for a confrontation, this is how you get one. And Hill got one. Until this point, the cop has acted fine. He's not exactly polite, but he's not impolite. There was no need for Hill to act like this. The cop will now lose his patience with the man-child and order him out of the car. Take note of how long it takes before the cops decide to extract him physically, and how many times they tell him to get out.
Get out of the car. Give me that. We'll break that window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out.
The officer loses his patience and orders Hill out of the car 5 times, and once by the other officer. He can do this in every state of the union. Once ordered out of a vehicle by a police officer, you must exit. That's Pennsylvania versus Mims. It's about officer safety. Tyreek is obnoxious and driving a car with heavy window tint. That's more than enough to justify the cop's demand for him to exit the vehicle. Throughout this time, Tyreek is not getting out of the car. He's arguing. Let's go back and listen.
Get out of the car. Give me that. We'll break that window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out.
The notion that Hill, being a black male, must be terrified of the cops is inane. He clearly had no problem going out of his way to piss the cops off. He's impolite and antagonizing. There's no law requiring that you be a nice dude, but you can't be a jerk and then claim that you were worried about police brutality.
Get out. Get out. What part of violence do you understand? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested.
Once they opened the door, I think they should have given Tyreek at least one more chance to get out of the car on his own. They don't have to, but they do have a duty to try to move things along smoothly as well. But there is something in human nature that once you cross a line, it's hard to go back. Once they had the door open, they had already made up their mind that they were going to forcibly extract him, which they can do. Perhaps Tyreek would have cooperated at that point. He's claiming that he was going to. But his behavior throughout this incident makes it hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's been nothing but obstinate throughout the whole ordeal. Who's to say that he was going to exit willingly? Just because cops are trained in de-escalation doesn't mean you have the freedom to escalate all you want. It is the job of both parties to de-escalate. As a society, we assume that both parties are trained by their parents on how to behave, and also by the School of Hard Knocks by getting your ass kicked when you get out of line. Is the force used by the cops to pull out of the car excessive? No. The cop gave him a lawful order. He refused to comply. They can use physical force to pull him out. The fact that there were numerous cops pulling him out actually lessens the danger to Hill, as each cop doesn't have to exert as much force on him to get him out. Like my video and subscribe to my channel. And if you're such a dullard that all you can do is call someone a bootlicker, then spare me your comments. I have no interest in what you have to say.